everyone.
Hi. Have any of you guys ever heard of or done Orange Theory fitness classes? No?
Hey, howdy.
They're kicking my butt. It's awesome. It's like an hour long, boot camp CrossFit kind of thing. And like I'm having a hard time picking up the pin, you know, muscles that I haven't used in so long. I'm like, ooh, but it's a good pain. Yeah.
Just have to roll around in your office chair, can't get up.
Right?
Oh.
I see that it's 4, but maybe we'll just wait one more minute for folks to join in, and we'll get started.
So funny. I just got a text message from a friend who says, have you done any work with the Pensacola and Perdido Bays estuary program?
What timing?
I know.
Yeah, text them the link. Tell them to pop on.
There you go.
Let's go.
And send them a selfie of all of us.
Or you could test them and be like, no, I've actually never heard of them. Will you tell me more?
Yeah.
That would be good.
So just a little bit ago, Logan emailed out the agenda packet for the policy board meeting, and it had attached to that the May minutes. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, if you would take a look, that'll be our first agenda item to approve those minutes. There was a little Zoom glitch, so we're not certain if we captured everybody that was there at that meeting. So if you see that you or somebody you know was there is not listed, please let us know.
And Whitney, could you drop that link in the chat as well for folks? Awesome, thanks.
For those of you that were able to take a look before, if you have any comments, let us know, but we'll take just a minute or two to take a look at that.
And if you were there and you didn't make it on the list, you can drop it in chat or you can email us. Either one works, but if we could get it in writing, that'd be great. So we have it later as a reminder.
Hey Logan, it's Leanne. I think that's the one that I was having trouble. I actually was on it, but I was over in Baghdad. I was trying to do it on my phone, so I'll put mine in the chat. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other comments about the May 20th meeting minutes? If not, do I have a move to approve the minutes? Motion.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Great. Anyone opposed? Excellent. We have a big group here today. I'm so excited. Thank you all for being here today. All right, moving on, we will jump right into staff updates.
Yes, I'm gonna change screens real quick. All right, can you guys see that? Thumbs up? PowerPoint?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay, great. So first thing on our agenda today is Trash Free Waters, which many of you have heard about. It was scheduled originally for June. Unfortunately, due to the weather, we did have to postpone it, but we're excited that the new date is right around the corner, July 31st. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to noon at Lexington Terrace Park for Jones Creek, and Emerson has been hard at work recruiting volunteers. Looks like we're going to have a good turnout, but if you haven't signed up yet and you're interested and you can make it out to the new date, his email is right there. You're welcome to drop him a line in chat as well. We can get you more information about that if you're interested in attending. We are now accepting applications for our 2021 to 2022 community grant program. And those applications are going to be due August 3rd by 11:59 p.m. So basically midnight. And all the details and the request for proposal, the application are on our website. Whitney, if you could drop that in the chat for folks as well, if they didn't see it in the newsletter. There's also a recording of an informational webinar we held about eligibility and the application process. If you want to take a look at that, if you have additional questions. Thanks, Whitney. And then we have wrapped up our community grants from the past year. And to celebrate that and to launch this next year's cycle, we're going to be holding a community grant symposium in September during National Estuaries Week. So go ahead and save the date for this one. It's going to be September 23rd at the Bayview Center in Pensacola from 5:30 to 8 p.m. We'll be highlighting some of our community grants that we funded this last year and then announcing our recipients for the new cycle as well. So should be a very exciting opportunity to learn more about some of the work that happened this last year and upcoming work as well.
Logan, is that in person or, I'm sorry if you just said it and I was busy.
It is going to be in person at the Bayview Center in Pensacola.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And then this is not hot off the press quite yet, but hopefully any day now. HR will be putting out a new job posting for us. It's going to be an outreach assistant position. So stay tuned. It likely won't be as open as long as the environmental scientist position, just due to the sheer number of applications we got on the first round. So it might be a quicker turnaround. So if you know folks, as soon as we send it out, please spread the word and encourage them to not hesitate to submit those applications. And also just wanted to update folks, just a quick update. Whitney has a link with more details if you haven't seen the press release yet, but the East Bay Oyster Habitat Restoration Project is officially happening. There's going to be 33 reefs installed about 6.5 miles of shoreline over at East Bay. That's being led by the Nature Conservancy and many of our other great partners. So this effort has been underway for a long time now, and we're really excited to see it come to life. And it was postponed slightly due to Elsa and some barge shipments, but it actually was rescheduled for those shipments to arrive this week. So hopefully we will have some on the ground photo updates for you in the coming weeks as well. And next on our, can you guys still see, can you see an Excel sheet now?
Yeah, we
Perfect.
can see
Okay. So next on our discussion is National Estuaries Week planning, which is technically the 19th through the 25th or 18th through the 25th, but I'm taking advantage of those extra days there for some efforts. So we're looking to put together a robust calendar of events week-long across the watershed. So that's events for leading and as well as partner events as well that we can promote. So I just wanted to go through this really quickly. On the 18th, that's International Coastal Cleanup Day. So there may be other sites that this is occurring, but we are aware that there's going to be one at Perdido Key State Park. And then another big volunteer event day is National Public Lands Day. That's going to be on the 25th. So both of those Saturdays, there's two great opportunities to come out and volunteer. We already know Jones Creek, Gulf Islands, and Big Lagoon are going to be having work days scheduled. And Chastity, I believe you were interested in doing one at UWF, was that correct?
Yeah, on the 18th. So yeah, you can add Thompson Bayou as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, we have a trip tentatively scheduled with the city of Pensacola Parks and Recreations with Paul Pipes to do a kayak trip at Indian Bayou. So if you were driving over the Garcon Point Bridge this year quite a bit, you probably drove right over what feeds into this bayou. So it'll be a great chance for folks to see it from the ground, not sitting in traffic. So we'll release some more details on the timing of that soon. The 21st, we tentatively have a documentary screening at Beardless Brewhouse in Milton. That's pending that their new location is going to be up and running. They are moving just down the street to Blackwater, next door to Blackwater Bistro. But they are interested. So we'll be following up with details to see if the timing will work out. And that documentary is a Escambia River documentary. That was a community grant project we funded this past year. And a lot of that work took place north of Milton and with agricultural communities that impact the Escambia River. So really exciting opportunity to work with those folks up there a little closer to where the work actually happened. This date hasn't been confirmed yet, but we're looking to partner with the City of Orange Beach and their Wind and Water Center to do a Perdido Islands kayak and sailing trip potentially. So that date may shift around a little bit, but something is in the works with our Alabama friends as well. And then Thursday, I did mention our community grant symposium from 5:30 to 8 p.m. That one is nailed down. That one's for sure happening. And then the 24th, 25th, and 26th, that's the Pensacola Seafood Festival weekend. So we will be tabling there. The Florida Association of Environmental Professionals is also having a Perdido paddle on the 24th. And that's bring your own kayak, right, Chastity?
Well, it's still in the planning phases, and
Okay.
we're thinking about working with an outfitter, so to be determined.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll keep you posted on that one. Again, National Public Lands Day is the 25th, and then very exciting to wrap up the Seafood Festival weekend. We are looking to hold an oyster natural history sunset cruise in the bay, and that would be from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. It would go over to Garcon Point. We would get a chance to talk about aquaculture in the area. We wouldn't get quite as far as East Bay, but we could talk about the efforts going on in the TNC's restoration project as well, and really give folks a chance to learn more about the biology, the history, and current conditions and restoration efforts for oysters in our area. So really excited about that one. And we tentatively will have an event with the Navarre Beach Marine Science Center. They're looking to schedule an open house, but haven't settled on a date yet. And then we've also reached out to the mess hall to see if they'd be interested in doing some specific estuary programming that week that we could feature as well, but we wouldn't be leading. So if anyone has something they'd like to add to this, a partner effort that you know of that's already going on, or you have something in mind that you'd like to lead, please let us know and we'd be happy to feature it for National Estuaries Week.
Also, Logan's created a awesome sign up genius to help out with several of these events. Logan, do you want to pop that link in the chat so people can see? It's really easy to sign up, but I did for those of you that are going to go and sign up to help. There's a one last step you have to do. Like once you sign up for the events that you want to help, you have to scroll back up to the top of the page and click save. Otherwise it doesn't work. So just so you save you guys from that.
So I'll pull that up too, so we can walk through what those look like. So the way it was set up, you had to select a date. So some of these might not necessarily have one date that you're going to do this on. But they're in advance of when they would need to be done. So one thing we'll need help with when we get a little closer is distributing flyers that are going to advertise all the great efforts we have going on this week. So that is listed here. We had conversations about promoting oysters with local restaurants, and from speaking with folks in the restaurant industry, we determined the best route maybe to provide them with kids menus that they could change out so it's not going to conflict with their branding, so they could add that in. So we need folks that can help us design those, the content that's going to go on them, and then also identify restaurants that'd be willing to participate, pull their menus, and transfer that information onto the kids menus. And then we will also need folks to go out and deliver those across our range. So there's different locations listed here once we have those partners identified. For the symposium, we will need assistance with planning, and then also set up and break down the day of. And then note for the symposium and the Oyster Bay Cruise, we're also looking for help with sponsorships. So if fundraising or getting sponsorships is your deal, we could definitely use your help there. So we're looking for in-kind catering sponsorship for the symposium and also for the Oyster Natural History Cruise. But the bigger priority for the Natural History Cruise is actually covering the cost of the boat so we can be on it. So those are our two fundraising priorities. And then on the 25th, there are shifts for the Seafood Festival. Last year, Friday and Sunday were pretty manageable if we end up doing the whole weekend. So right now, I'm not anticipating needing too much extra help on those days, but Saturday was very busy yesterday. So we would love to have last year. So we would love to have some extra hands on board during those days. And it's not a commitment for the whole day. There's different shifts broken up. And again, that sponsorship for the cruise. So that's the total cost for the rental for the 2 hours. So it doesn't have to be the total amount that someone supports, but you could look for multiple sponsors to help fund those events. And I have, if anyone's interested in those efforts, some templates that I can provide to you for donation request letters.
Logan, have you had that tab open a little bit? I'm only asking because I've signed up for a handful of those and it looks like they're still all open. So now I'm wondering if mine
went through.
I went back and I clicked save and I got the email saying I signed up.
I can see that a CH has signed up for the Deliver Oyster menus, the Grant Symposium planning. So I see you, Chastity.
Perfect. Second time was the charm.
Didn't like me refreshing. Does anyone have questions about any of those opportunities?
The Pensacola Seafood Festival. Okay, you do have afternoon shifts too. If I maybe one of my interns wanted to come help out, but they might also want to be talking about manatees too. That be okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
Jessica, we'll have a table too as Escambia County. So last year we were next door to each other, so we'll see what that looks like this year.
Cool. Yeah, they'll be busy in the morning, but that afternoon shift they could maybe do.
So we'll let folks mull that over.
And maybe I'm blind. Why do I only see Saturday for the Seafood Festival? I saw Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, last year it was pretty slow on Friday.
Okay.
We did have extra folks help. I don't know if that was the best use of their time.
No worries. No, so you're going to be there, but you don't necessarily need other volunteers there. Gotcha.
All right, any other questions? So estuary week. Okay, hearing none, let's move on. Our next agenda item is a discussion about committee structure. Jessica, I'm so glad you're here as well, because I would love your thoughts and input too, as you know, been leading the technical committee.
And I am anxious to hear your discussion because I was gonna, do something similar with the technical committee next week, I'm sure.
Nice. So I'm sure, like, most everybody, here today have served on several committees, and some, a lot more effective and helpful to the organization than others, right? And one thing that I have been struggling with is with this committee is, we really have a complete lack of structure for the committee, right? And we did that purposefully when writing the grant and developing the structure of the organization. There was a method to our madness of keeping the committees very loosely structured and for reporting purposes, for notice purposes, and all of that. So I was thinking about the possibility of informally kind of creating committee, like, what did I call them? Like roles, like different roles for committee members that, individual committee members could kind of sign up to serve as this role. And so whenever Logan and the rest of staff need help in this area, then that particular committee member, would be the one to go to, could put in some time, some work behind the scenes, right, to be able to help that. And I feel like our committee would be a lot more helpful to the estuary program in general and to staff, if we, picked a role that we wanted to fulfill, and then we're able to help, I think this committee has done a wonderful job, showing up and providing feedback and input during our kind of strategic planning, phase of developing the organization. And that was very helpful. But, we're as an organization, we're kind of moving we're kind of in the transition, going from planning to more implementation. And I think that for that implementation phase of our strategic plan, that we can be much more beneficial and useful to staff if, we can take a to-do list, between meetings and accomplish some things to bring back to the next meeting that will help move that strategic plan forward. So first, I was wondering, what, other members of this committee thought about that. Do you hate that idea? What are your thoughts about it? And then after that, I would like us to, unless everyone's like, you're a mad woman, take this idea and leave it and flush it, right? But if not, then I'd like to talk about some of those roles that we might, either formally with approval from the policy board or informally as just a way to structure ourselves, what would those different roles be? So I will stop blabbing now if anybody wants to chime in with thoughts or ideas.
So my recollection is that a big part of the reason why we went with the ad hoc committee membership was because of sunshine. That there were questions that if there was a formal committee and we were advisory instead of just being fact finding, that then there would be questions about sunshine. And I guess just because if we switch to less ad hoc and more, with formal roles, it doesn't necessarily mean we would switch from fact finding to advisory, but just wanted to flag that.
Yeah, that's a valid point. And, another discussion to have is, is it an effective structure, to have committees simply as ad hoc committees, or could the estuary program committees be more effective, if they were formalized and in the sunshine so to speak.
And they are two separate questions, I think. I agree with that. So, and the goal is to ensure that the structure of the committee promotes engagement, and accountability is a strong word, but you know, we talked about that, Chastity. So that's really the goal. Is this the best structure? I think that sunshine, but also structure definitely can be considered separately. And so I think it's a great idea and definitely a good time to have the conversation.
So just throwing out, one of the reasons that we did not necessarily want to get formal was for some people, it's not going to matter in terms of the sunshine requirement, but for others like myself, I would not be able to participate as a former member, although I can still talk a lot as an audience member. So it's not like it to be a problem. But that, I think, is one of the big concerns, is not eliminating people who might otherwise participate more actively if it were to become a sunshine board.
Yeah, and I agree completely, Daryl. And I am in full support of you know, kind of formalizing internally some roles for committee members, but keeping the committee ad hoc. You know, we talked a lot about that in the development process, about the fact that so many of us that are involved with the estuary program work together on many different, you know, projects and activities, and that becomes, you know, a real difficult, sticky situation. You know, if we have, you know, if sunshine rule requirements are put onto the committee. And I agree that we definitely do not want to limit what folks that are interested in contributing to the estuary program can do, I think. Other thoughts?
Chastity, what kind of roles were you envisioning? Are you thinking like your typical committee roles of like treasurer, secretary? Are you thinking more like program areas and ways that we can utilize, you know, our respective strengths?
Yeah, more the latter.
Okay.
You know, we still, obviously we need to have, you know, a chair of the department, but some that I have just been, that I thought of, you know, while I've been thinking about this are, I love a youth role. Something I talked with Donald and Logan about is creating a subcommittee of our education and outreach, a youth subcommittee of our committee, right? So if we had so I'd like a role with that, a K-12 schools role, events role, sponsors, and others. I was hoping you guys would kind of help me think about that. Like what other roles, you know, are there that, you know, we could have one or two committee members volunteer for. So I have youth, K-12 schools, events, sponsors, and then chair and vice chair.
And that's actually putting those frameworks on it, I think was really helpful, Chastity, because where my brain was initially going when you talked about, you know, committee structure and roles is I was thinking back to the proposal and how we said, okay, well, we want to get some, you know, of the, you know, university represented. Okay, we want to get some of the NGOs, and we want to get some of the, you know, just thinking about different categories of folks that would be invited to be participating, or that we'd be asking to participate in the committees. So by you kind of laying it out, those examples, yeah, that actually gives me some more, it helps frame it a little bit better. Because I was thinking about, again, my first wave of thought, like, you know, formal education and NGOs and community groups or things like that. And I was thinking, well, is that going to encourage more participation or less participation? You know, because that's what you want. You want folks to be speaking up and chiming in on these in the committee meetings, not just, you know, passively listening. And so I felt like, well, if the person who's designated to fill the, you know, community NGO group seat, hopefully they would then be more engaged. But would that mean others would be less engaged? Oh, you know, so and so is filling that role, so I don't need to go. You know, even though I'm part of that same stakeholder group as, you know, Betty White, Betty's going to be at the meeting, so I don't need to go. So I was trying to think about what would get more participation, but now that you defined those, you know, define that better, I do like that.
Yeah, and my thought is it would almost be like, you know, almost be like creating, you know, all of these subcommittees without actually making them subcommittees and making them meet on their own. You know what I mean? So if you could envision, like, you know, what subcommittees would Education and Outreach Committee have? And then could we get 1, 2, maybe 3 volunteers, you know, that really want to focus in each of these different areas that staff can use help with? You know, as someone that staff can reach out to. We have, you know, writing grants or planning events or whatever it is that staff's doing. You know, there, you know, depending on which of those kind of subcommittee roles would be, you know, able to help staff. That's kind of what I was thinking.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think sidesteps the sunshine issue nicely. If they're not so much roles as maybe a lead, and committee membership, you know, remains absolutely open to whoever wants to participate. They can join in whatever subcategory they want, but there's kind of a point person within those smaller groups.
I will be honest and admit that I've had the CCMP action plan open and sitting on my desktop, and I'm like, today I'm going to work on it. And then all of a sudden it's 6 o'clock. But I'm wondering if looking at that, it might, like, other potential roles might jump out. You know, if the roles, would it be helpful if the roles paralleled somewhat goals and objectives in the CCMP action plan draft? That was just a thought.
Yeah, and I think those groupings go well together, especially with Logan's, with like the committee's strategic plan for education and outreach. I think those, you know, the categories of those types of maybe action categories, like what we need to be doing. And then, like Jessica said, base those categories off of things we've already identified, which I think some of those that Chastity mentioned line up pretty nicely. Because I think there's categories of education and outreach that some of them parse out pretty nicely automatically when you think of that. But some of them might be, I don't know how many you guys are thinking about having, but.
Jessica, sorry, go ahead.
I love I love action categories, right? Because we get, you know, away from kind of a, you know, more formal / legal terminology of committee as subcommittee, and just have it be action categories within, you know, this already established committee. I think that's great. Sorry, go ahead, Daryl.
Yeah, I was just going to make a snippy comment that I was going to tell Jessica it's not a contest, but I submitted my CCMP comments already. Just saying.
For the record, he didn't use the survey, so really they don't count. But I guess we'll be nice this
For the
time.
record, they do count, because I said I would use the survey if you wanted.
Shocker, Daryl didn't follow the rules.
I think
Surprise.
I think that CCMP idea is a good one. Like, already makes me think of, you know, having someone that thinks about diversity or inclusion, or, you know, because we have goals around that. So I think there's a lot of potential there. And yeah, action teams, Lee, that's good feedback.
I do have
call them
one.
action team. Is that what you're saying?
Lee, yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw her comment. I just didn't know if that's what she wanted to call them.
Yeah, I like action teams better than action categories. Brilliant.
I do have one suggestion to maybe combine youth and K-12 and maybe look at, I don't know if we want to call it adult, citizen science, but kind of that aspect of the program, general public. I don't know how we want to define it, but I think K-12 and youth, there's a lot of overlap and we don't necessarily need two separate groups. But that kind of adult citizen science, contractor training, it's a different aspect.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Any other thoughts, comments?
I also think that we got to work these either in identifying what roles or figuring out what their role, I hate to say role, what their purpose is going to be. We'll just have to work closely with the staff, obviously they'll work closely with the staff, but I was just thinking about, the sponsor one, and I was thinking about, or fundraising or something like that, but I'm like, well, grant writing. Well, no, that's, they can work with the staff, but don't want to, I don't know, need to be careful about getting at cross purposes. I was thinking about, or social media. I was like, same thing. That's, kind of Logan. I don't know. Is that something like, hey, yeah, it would, like, Logan, are you sitting there thinking, oh, that would be awesome if there was somebody on the committee that kind of had some sort of umbrella duties regarding social media or something? Or are you thinking, no, that's what, the new person is going to be doing?
Yeah, I think things like social media, the website, those type of platforms we would manage as staff, but that doesn't mean there's not an opportunity for folks to help generate content that we can share on social media on projects they have ongoing. Oh, Jessica, you're mute.
Yeah, I know. I was just going to say Lee needs to unmute and just talk because it's too hard to keep having to read the chat. She's got so much great input.
That was a great idea though, Logan. I mean, I know that we don't have to talk about it here in committee, but having committee help generate, not super long form, but stuff that we can put on our blog is a great idea. Guest posts from our committee on the blog. It's a great idea.
All right, awesome. You guys really had some great ideas. I will type up a rough outline of what we discussed in the different roles, and we can send that out. I know that the discussion of committee roles is also on the policy board agenda, so I will send some notes to Logan to add to the minutes from what you guys talked about, and then see what happens with the policy board discussion, and then maybe we can come back at our next meeting and discuss this some more. In the meantime, if you think of anything, shoot me an email. If you think of another, like, oh, we really need this action team. All right, so we're already to the public comments and around the new room announcements. I just had one. I was wondering where we are with the boom naming, how that's going. I submitted a couple. Are you guys getting some submissions? How's it looking?
We've gotten some. I haven't looked in a week or so to see if we've had more out there. So yes, please encourage folks to do that as well. It was in a previous newsletter, but I can, let's see, I'll pull that up and send it in the follow-up email as well. Let's see if I can pull it up right now.
Any other committee announcements, comments?
I was surprised that Whitney and Logan, you guys didn't do or maybe you did and I just was spaced out, but to be like, review the CCMP action plan draft and get those comments done. I don't know.
I did it. I did it 2 days ago. I sent out a reminder and said,
No, it's verbally. People listen. They don't read.
In-person virtual guilt trip.
right? Right.
And of course, there are some people that's already turned them in.
Oh gosh, here we go. Amazing. People are going to do it. I have faith.
But speaking about sending, when you did send that around, Whitney, I saw that was when you put in the whole thing about the panhandle manatee. And so just thank you for doing that. And if you guys didn't read it, that yes, we're doing manatee outreach. I've had interns. They're at boat ramps right now, talking on Saturday and Sunday mornings, boat ramps throughout the watershed, talking to boaters, asking them to go slow where seagrasses grow and report manatee sightings. And hopefully I'll get some summary from Dolphin Island Sea Lab as to how sightings are coming in. But yeah, and we're, you know, that's a big thing. Hey, yes, report manatee sightings, panhandlemanatee.org, but we are looking for training and recruiting more volunteers to help us with those activities. So if you have Chastity, thank you. I know you sent it out to your students, and Emerson, actually I got somebody just last weekend that said that that she got it from you. So thank you to everybody who is circulating my call for volunteers.
Hey, Jessica, can you add Bigfoot and mermaids to that list?
Yes.
Thank you.
Daryl, have I said how much I appreciate you coming to meetings and providing comic relief and always, you know, really good, excellent input, but the comic relief is priceless.
Hey, I'm serious. They're real.
And Lee is, I see Lee kind of shaking her head.
We did also,
Right.
just side note, get some great drone footage from Daryl that I'm hoping to share on social media tomorrow and continue to share it. So thank you, Daryl, as always, for capturing
Yes, good job.
footage for us. It's from the NWCA surveys that have been going on. Some really cool ones.
Awesome.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
It was beautiful weather today, so you got lucky, I think. But it was, yeah, the pictures are amazing and video.
Well, I had to be there at 7 in the morning, so really y'all are lucky because that doesn't happen unless I'm going fishing.
I know.
So-
I told Logan, I was like, he had to have been out there like really early because this lighting is awesome. And I was like, this is when they usually get on the water. So I was right. Great job, Daryl.
Yeah, don't expect it again. I need like 6 months to recover.
All right. I'm hearing no other around the room announcements. Feel free to chime in if you thought of something. Our next meeting is September 2nd, and we are hoping to do an in-person meeting next time. I've reached out to the Studer Institute about getting a room there for our next meeting. And I'm still waiting to hear back from them. I actually reached out on Friday and they said 24 hours and I still hadn't heard back. So I followed up again today. And so hopefully we'll be able to there. If not, we'll look at a library or something in the kind of downtown area. And then I thought maybe we could do a little social afterwards. Maybe go grab a beer or something for those that would like to. After we get our business taken care of. So be on the lookout for announcing where that will be. All right, last chance for announcements, comments.
Janelle, I saw posted in chat, and then Janelle, I just sent you a bunch of private messages. I just want to make sure you saw those.
Yeah, I got it. I'm driving. Sorry.
Oh, well, after we disconnect, the chat is going to go away. So
I'll talk with her. I'm going to stick around and talk with her, and I can reach out and I can send her actually your call for volunteers if you want to email that to me.
yes, actually, here, I'm just going to post here's just the volunteer sign up form, which is a great place to just start, that I just put in the chat.
All right, thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time. That was
Thanks,
it.
everyone.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good evening.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.
See ya.
All right, Janelle, the floor is yours.
So yeah, I'm getting a club together and we just really want to like volunteer more with the community, and I have been receiving emails through you guys for about a year. I think I like put my name on y'all's email list at the last seafood festival, and I'm not sure if I was even supposed to be part of the Zoom call. I just was having difficulty like finding good volunteer information on the website. Everything kind of like directed me to something else, and it wasn't very like direct. So
Yeah, part of that, Janelle, is as an estuary program, we've really been in the kind of development phase, so we haven't had a whole lot of volunteer engagement yet. But like I mentioned earlier, we're kind of like in that transition phase of moving out of strategic planning and into implementation. So I definitely foresee a lot more volunteer opportunity coming up. What is UAA? What is your club?
so my club is Undergraduate Anthropology Association. I'm reaching out to like all volunteer opportunities. So obviously it doesn't like fall within any of the students' majors, but we're getting students who aren't necessarily anthropology students either. So it's possible that, you know, someone might be in, you know, like wildlife or in ocean marine or anything like that. But we
Well,
just really like,
I actually just reached out this week to both C's and GTU. You know, we're upstairs from you guys, and I'm in Earth and Environmental Sciences.
okay.
And about starting the planning for the coastal cleanup and beginning of estuaries program kickoff for that Saturday cleanup on Thompson Bayou.
Okay.
I would love, you know, if UAA wants to get involved with that, for sure, would be great. And then of course Logan sent that Sign Up Genius link, which I can email to you. I'll email you the Sign Up Genius link if you guys want to help out at the Seafood Festival.
Okay.
And also the link that what Jessica was talking about with the Manatee Project and looking for some volunteers for that. So I can email those both to you.
Okay.
What's your username?
It's JEV17.
Got
You know,
it.
it's UW, not EDU.
Yeah.
And Janelle, this is Emerson. I'll selfishly add too that we're always recruiting people to participate in Trash Free Waters. And I actually saw that you signed up for the Saturday event next week, which we're super excited about. In addition to like the larger scale cleanups we're gonna have, we're also recruiting folks to participate in like continuous monitoring of the trash booms that we're gonna be installing at the event. So if you're interested in taking a more continuous role in the Trash Free Waters project, there's always opportunities there as well.
Okay.